Hello, hello, beautiful souls. I am so grateful to be joined today with the beautiful Lizzy. And you will absolutely want to stick around for today's episode 2 of PinOak's Pals. And we're going to be discussing our personal progress towards standing in our power and living life with intention. So I'm really grateful for this space and just the ability to be able to connect. I think it's so beautiful that we have cultivated a community of souls who really value and cherish these spaces where we can share our wisdom and grow together. And I think that's something really beautiful. So I'll start my gratitude for today with just really being grateful for you, Lizzy, being here today, and really grateful for the opportunities that we have and that we've shared. And I'm really grateful for the growth that we've all seen in our lives. Like, it's been really beautiful to see everyone kind of stepping a little more out of their shells or learning a little more about themselves. And even just in my own space, being able to see more of myself and really have that community of people that can just support that. And yeah, I know I hold a lot of my personal power today because of the amazing spaces that we have shared. So very grateful for that. And
100%. Yes. I was in like a really weird place. I remember the day that I joined, became a part of the Paradigm Shift community, which is how we specifically know each other. And I know a lot of the featured guests on in the Cove will be from Paradigm Shift as well. I remember that day like it was yesterday. Yeah, I was in a weird place, and I had been in Brendan's orbit for a little while, and that day I had like a little argument, maybe a big argument, a riff with my partner, and I just didn't really have like anybody who I could know that I could reach out and they would be there to support me. And today I'm super excited and happy that I can definitely say that I definitely have a community, and nonetheless passionate women like myself who can definitely relate to the different things that I go through as a woman in the community and beyond. Super excited.
beautiful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful you mentioned the powerful women, because that was actually one of the things that really encouraged me and inspired me, was just seeing you be in your power. And I know we're gonna get into this, but like, Lizzy's book is going from going. Oh, you tell us, what's the name of your book?
From Shy to Magnetic.
Yes, exactly. And it's been amazing just to really see how when we come together and support each other, especially as women, and I don't mean this in any way against males, but other than the fact that culture around women being friends or friendly or supportive of one another has been less than abundant in my life. I don't know. I'll put it that. And so I think it's really special that we can come together and see, wow, look at that amazing, powerful woman. Let me boost her up and see my power in her. And so, yeah, really.
Queens help each other fix their crowns. And yeah, like you said, we'll definitely get into this, but yeah, you're such like a stand-up human being, period. And definitely somebody that I've been looking up towards, and like just you being you is inspiring. And I know I can honestly say the same for myself, not to, toot my own horn, toot. And at times I feel like that can seem intimidating. And I mean, I guess you can look at it a couple different ways as well, but let's get into it. I'm super excited for the magic that's to come. Like, this has definitely, right now, this moment is a manifestation of honestly just one foot in front of the other, and being, wanting to be with people that have that bigger vision as well. And
Manifestations coming true. We'll have to add that in too. So I guess before we get started, let us go ahead and join together and just allow ourselves to connect in our breath. So if you're watching and you would like to take a moment, you can close your eyes if you feel comfortable, but just allowing yourself to notice your breath and your heart space. And let us take a nice deep breath in and release. Breath in and release. One final breath in and release. And in this moment, I invite you to notice the beat of your heart in your chest and allow yourself to become connected with the breath moving from the inhale to the exhale, finding a gentle rhythm with your heartbeat. I'm just inviting you to send gratitude in this moment to your body for all the blessings that it brings you, for every obstacle that it walks you through, and giving you the gift of being here in this now moment today. And I invite you to allow yourself to drop your shoulders and release any of the tension that might have carried over from the rest of the day. And allowing yourself the permission to call peace into your space with each breath, feeling that love and that hope and that joy fill your heart center. And with each exhale, releasing any remaining stressors or frustrations. And calling our awareness to this very now moment we share together today. And we'll take one final breath in and release. As we bring our awareness back to our bodies, wiggling our fingers and toes, knees and our nose, and opening our eyes whenever we're ready. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm really looking forward to sharing this space. And yeah, Lizzy, I would love to just start off by allowing space for you to share about your, I love your story, and I would just love for you to share whichever parts you feel called in this moment. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, hi YouTube. This PinOak's Cove. Yeah, thank you so much, Kristen. Like I did like a serum on my face and now my AirPod keeps sliding out of my ear. Taking a breath there. Can you hear me, right? Okay, perfect. Thank you. The idea for my book came in 2018. And at that point in my life, I had a couple failed relationships, like intimate relationships. And the most previous one at that point, the most recent one, had just ended really badly. And I don't want to get too much into it, but yeah, just like throwing stuff at the wall and just not taking no for an answer. Like that's pretty much. And I didn't know when to leave. Because, I had not been exposed to women who really encouraged me to like speak up, use my voice, and to see my own worthiness outside of what I can do for another person. And so that was a lot of my upbringing too, was like conservative Catholic. And I honestly don't really identify with those labels anymore. So after this relationship ended, and I kind of found myself like just dealing with the after effects. I thought that this person was going to be in my life for like a long time. And, I had always, I guess, seen myself as somebody in a relationship. So it ended really tough. And at that point in my life, the people around me, weren't like the beautiful souls in Paradigm Shift who are super encouraging and, encourage me to practice and basically I had to make a lot of forward steps by myself, which that's how it felt. I know that I'm always supported in my life and, by the divine as well. And so, this was like the following year that I had the idea for my book. And it being on the internet and stuff as a millennial and someone who is getting more and more into spirituality as the days go by, just finding, I feel like I lost my train of thought. Because I feel like I didn't like introduce myself. I just went into my story. I do that a lot, but each moment is new. So I guess we can do that at the end. Human design. I'm a human design generator. So what happens is I get excited and I like follow that thought, and then nothing else just makes sense, but that's okay. So I wanted to focus on like self-love and relationships because right now my heart calls me to work with women in that capacity. And I'm enrolling women in a self-love and relationships program. So the steps that took me to get there, and the frustration and the challenges. I've done videos talking about mommy issues, my mommy issues. It's actually on my friend Hanging Out with Love's profile. She invited me back in February. Also with Love, I've done a self-love and femininity. And that was a whole journey that I feel like I led myself through as well. What are some other journeys? And so through, not feeling like I had a close support system growing up, and leaving high school, actually lost one of my best friends of 13 years. So these situations really catapulted me into overcoming shyness in groups and being my own best friend, which I was just re-listening to How to Be Your Own Best Friend that I did this year as well. And so now I'm in that place where following the pull on my heartstrings right? So what I've been able to do is really put myself out on a limb. My realization that I was actually shy, I talk about it in my book, but it will forever stay with me. I had this aha moment in high school. I was a freshman and my brother was a senior, and it was like the last pep rally of the year. And I just noticed him being really shy, and like people around him were like embracing and like singing in, you know, each other's faces. And he was kind of just like, and I noticed him across the gymnasium. I was like, oh my gosh, bro, like, what are you doing? He doesn't watch my videos, so it's okay. Um, and I just knew like within me that if I didn't do anything different, the fact that I always keep people at a distance, and that's going to be like my reality when I'm a senior. So I had this realization by looking at the people around me and, you know, their character essentially. If I don't do anything different, I'm going to get the same results. So I've taken that with me through my relationships, and going out on a limb for other people and also for myself. I definitely think, you know, your dreams are out there and they're not separate from you. Like you just have to reach out your hand. You know, like what you want wants you. You just have to reach out your hand. That's one of my favorite quotations as well. And so moving on from the idea for my book, it really just like, I feel like I really channeled it, which I know a lot of people in this community know what channeling is already, which is really cool that we're on the same page with that. And it really like, so essentially the book really like came through me, but also at the same time, it's like my experiences of like putting myself out there over and over again. And also working at this really successful company that I worked at, and did a bunch of like sales conferences and leadership training with them. And so the book is short. It's honestly like 30 pages. I also ended up putting a workbook at the end as well, to kind of like solidify what I talk about in the book. And yeah, I'm really proud of it. And so now I really consider myself a writer. I always loved English and math in school, but for some reason, like I just never felt good enough to call myself like a writer. But now I do. And I feel like there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, but it's okay because that's what friends are for. Um,
No, I love.
and
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
please respond. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. No, you brought up so many amazing points. I just want to make sure you finished your like train of thought before I chime in. No, I love the fact that you said that it came from like a channeled place, because it's a term that we use in the spiritual community, right? Of like, oh, we're channeling and we are aware. But I think it's something that a lot of people do that they're just unaware of. And it's like this moment. And I think that this is one of the key points whenever we're talking about being able to stand in your power, being able to follow your dreams and doing the things that you feel called to do. It's being able to be open to listen, to hear what your calling is, right? You being able to sit in that moment and see your brother and see yourself and say, you know, I want to grow from this. I want to be able to have more from life than what I'm allowing of myself. What's this calling? Where is it bringing me? And allowing yourself to kind of step through that process using your own, you know, life experiences to be that passion that really drives you. And I think that if it's if there's one wish that I could send out to the world, it would be that everyone can tap into their channeling abilities, because I really do believe that, it comes from that place of being able to find your flow. And just like to drop in next week on PinOak's Pals, we will be talking about channeling. So funny synchronicity within
For
the
real.
space.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So Ren and I will be sharing about channeling next week. But it really does fold into standing in your power, because it's listening to that heart. You mentioned it, like, what is that thing that's driving you, that heartbeat that was pulling you forward? And I think that also, to the other point that you mentioned, was really kind of being in that place of feeling kind of confident about yourself, even though you didn't have anyone around you to support you, and being like, oh, wow, okay, if I'm going to do this, like, not only am I not going to have support, maybe there's going to be people telling me I can't do it, or making me feel silly or whatever. And so it's like really building that strong sense of self and saying, like, I know what I am here to do, or I'm going to do the thing that I feel called, no matter what the people around me may or may not be doing. And then being able to get that strength in yourself. So go ahead.
I love that summary. That was really, really beautiful, really to the point. You're so gifted. I love how you can do that. I love listening to you speak. The part you mentioned about, I know you guys are going to talk about this, but this is my 2 cents as well. And honestly, what has really just brought me to this now moment is channeling doesn't even have to be this like difficult thing where you sit and you meditate and you clear your mind for 30 minutes. It can be that, it can take on different forms. But what I also really wanted to emphasize would be asking for clarity. That has been a huge part of my journey up until now as well. And I think I love the saying that life opens in proportion to like how you open to life. And a big part of that for me has simply just been asking for clarity, so putting that intention in your mind of like, how can I get more clear on this? And for me, a lot of my answers have come in through the way that I feel. They've come in through a lot of different ways as well. I consider myself to be like a rainbow child. I'm constantly seeing like rainbows everywhere, especially in the sky. And the thing is, you have to look for them, right? So taking that time to really practice the pause, and also know that the answers are going to come like when they're meant to come. We can call this divine timing. I think how I met my current partner is definitely a lot of divine timing, but also, we are human beings. So we do, like I said, have to take that next step forward and the next breath, so clarity has been a big part of that. Finding clarity and also allowing the contrast to offer up more clarity. And by contrast, of course, in human terms would be like breaking up with your partner, or losing something, or just feeling crappy. These are all things that we are feeling confused or feeling doubtful about ourselves. If we are able to really like stay present with ourselves and also like look forward, like have the intention, right, that okay, this is going to be okay, and that helps me stand in my power for sure.
No, absolutely. That's like the trick though, isn't it? Because if you can't find your present moment, how are you going to hold your power? Because if you're not present, you're somewhere else, which that in and of itself is giving your power away to the future or the past or wherever it is. And so I think for me, I always like to think about it like not, and I want to clarify this, because I think there's a lot of different ways we can look at the word power, right? And like in my intention space, I look at personal power as being able to have that ability to make decisions and take action and listen to your heart and, do what's right, whether it's, the hard or the easy thing to do, being able to speak your truth and use your voice and, even just being able to be connected with that, like, inner knowing of what it is that you want or desire. And I think a lot of the times, especially in the societies that we have been, moved through, it's not necessarily at a place where we might encourage people to speak their voice, because that causes confrontation. And so I think just like even just being women that sit in our power is confrontational in and of itself. And I kind of love that, because it challenges others to kind of see their own, dynamics in their spaces. But I just wanted to share that, like, standing in your power doesn't necessarily mean that, like, oh, whenever we say, like, oh, you're giving your power away, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm, like, granting somebody else permission into my life. But in some aspects, if I say I'm in a relationship, right, and that relationship's horrible, that person treats me so terrible, and I continue to wake up every day and say I'm going to allow that to continue happening because that's whatever XYZ, that's you saying that you're giving your power to that experience. Whereas if you can say in that moment, how can I pull my power back to me? What can I do to look at the situation and see what actions I can take, and how can I move forward? And I think that's a lot of the blocks that come up, because then you get into this place of, like, oh, well, I see that he treats me poorly, but taking that action then brings up this trauma response that maybe I can't move forward through. And so I think there's a lot of healing that definitely needs to occur whenever we're working with standing in our power too, and being gentle with yourself too, I think is a big part.
I will say my family is, I love them, of course. I'm honestly really blessed. Especially my dad's, I get my shyness from my dad's side, and I feel like I've broken that generational curse, and now I'm working on alcohol disorder. That's another story. But they always encouraged me to, like, use my smarts, and now I feel like I do. Like, knowledge is power as well. So for people, like, if you're listening to something like podcasts or something, and people are using terms or phrases that you don't quite understand, or you simply want to learn more of, like, you get that little, like, tick in your mind, like, oh, this is interesting, I want to know more. Definitely follow those ticks. I had a few things come to mind when you were speaking, which is awesome. And it's definitely I actually made a voice note to myself this morning. And I said these words: that which is like unto itself is drawn. So I think in order to begin to know what it's like to step into our power, sometimes we have to know what it's like to not be there, and this is a beautiful segue into something else I wanted to mention as well. I feel like for that reason specifically, I feel like as women, we have a higher responsibility for self-love and for self-care. I don't believe that the society is set up for women unless you are, like, a wife, basically. And yeah, so for me, it's been a lot of just, I guess, claiming my power, right? I definitely did have some mentors recently, like, that I've sought out, and I'm finally becoming okay with, like, owning my worthiness, right? Like, I feel like some women go through their whole lives and they don't even give themselves permission to feel worthy, like, at the most basic level, because if a woman is, like, turned on in her power and her passion is ignited, there seems to be in society that she can't be controlled, right? But the reality is that when a woman is, her passions are ignited and her true self is, is there and she moves with intention, is that I feel like we're the biggest benefit to society, so a lot of the things that as I've become more self-aware, that I've noticed, they've just offered me a lot of clarity through contrast. And instead of asking the universe, why is this happening to me? I've really come to be able to ask, like, what can I learn from this?
Absolutely. That, or saying like, what can I do? Yeah, sure, there are always going to be situations in life where like maybe you can't necessarily do that thing, but there may be options around it that you can do. And so no, I would love to take a moment and allow you to enjoy your popcorn, and I'm going to tell you a story about my personal growth with finding my power to be able to speak. I know you mentioned earlier, like you were really grateful for my ability to be able to kind of just step in and speak. And I'll share with you that it's not always been this way. I've been through a long journey of working with healing my voice to be able to stand before you. And a lot of it came from that place of being like, knowing that I had so much I wanted to say, so much that I knew could help or could be, inspired or whatever the case may be. But I would get up to speak and I just could not find the words. It was like everything inside of me said, no, you can't say that because of this, or, you've been through that, if you say it this way, this is going to happen. And so it came to me a place of complete surrender of like, you know what, at the end of the day, what's the worst that's going to happen if I say the wrong thing? And I would tell myself that before I would do anything, like, what's the worst case scenario here? If I say the wrong thing, what's going to happen? And kind of like sitting with that and realizing that, oh, even that worst case scenario, I can do that. I can manage that. Like, I will be okay, even if that is what ends up happening. And so, of course, lots of situations where maybe the wrong thing was said, or something better could have been said. But I think the best thing that could have ever happened was I actually met a really beautiful vocal coach, Michelle Coutinho, and I'll be sure to put her links down below the bio. But working with a one-on-one healer to be able to help me find that like root cause of the problem and be able to hold space with someone else who understood and offered their healing. And that has been an absolute pivot point for me in my journey and being able to speak. And I think it was so powerful too, that it did come from that supportive women. And I will just say, like, in my experience, I've not had very supportive women in my life. And so it's really beautiful to have this new relationship that I formed with both males and females in my life, to have this like really balanced place of seeing that, it's okay to ask for help. Like, standing in your power doesn't necessarily mean that like you fix everything yourself, because that's detrimental for your own well-being, but also giving others the opportunity to support you. If there's a place where you feel like you could use a little extra support, like there's nothing wrong. If anything, I think it's really beautiful whenever we give someone the chance to support us through something that they've been through themselves, and then to have that experience of being able to kind of grow and break through in your own spaces. And yeah, it's still a work in progress. I feel much better about it now, but it's a blessing. And I think to also, the other thing you mentioned that I wanted to speak on was just really being able to find your breath and say, like, coming back to that centered place of, where am I? What is going on around me? What is actually happening in this now moment? And, allowing that to kind of be the point that moves you. And yeah, so.
That's so nice. Yeah, we definitely live in a world, in a society that like really values like moving fast and like always saying the right thing, and what else is it, and always reaching for like new things, and but it's like we really can find peace in simplicity. We can find peace in comfort in a way. Like I'm definitely a proponent of getting out of your comfort zone, but also at the same time, like especially if you've had a difficult past, which I want to recognize as well, like so powerful to be able to walk yourself and take the steps necessary to overcome that, especially as a woman again. Um, but yeah, I would love to hear, because every time I see you on camera, like you're so warm and I just feel so safe. And I would love if you could possibly expand on like what's your relationship now, like with the unknown?
Oh, that's a good question, Lizzy. So I honestly have come to a place where I love the unknown. I almost feel more comfortable, I think, whenever I'm stepping into an unknown, because it's 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 the unknown. Like you don't know where it's going to go. It could go anywhere. It's being okay with that possibility of anything. And then I think too, like just kind of the person I am naturally, I as a Libra in and of myself, I'm going to always see all scenarios of the situation. And I think that my journey towards being comfortable with the unknown, that's a great question, Lizzy. I think for me,
There's
a
a
lot of
second
it
part to the question as well. I'm sorry.
okay.
I just want to ask it just in case it might help you find some clarity. Or,
Okay.
in other words, how have you navigated feeling safe showing up as your whole self?
Ooh, okay. Yes. So first, I'll tell you, whenever I first started doing my online or being, in a camera setting, I was not comfortable at all. I would like have minor panic attacks before I would go live, and I would have to like
Wow.
really talk to myself beforehand. And I think a lot of it was having Brendan specifically as a guide working through that, like to know that it is all just practice, like that fundamental thing that I secured into my knowing of just like, yeah, it's okay. It's just practice.
It's
And
just
when I
practice.
know it's just practice, it's like, okay, I'm just showing up in every new moment. It's just a new moment to practice being even that much better for the next. But then at the end of the day, like you're still the one that has to be the person to take that step to do the thing, right? You can have all the support around you, but
Yeah.
believing in yourself and knowing that it's going to be okay even if you mess up. And I think that, like, as far as me being comfortable being my authentic self, it took a lot of really asking myself what my authentic self looks like, because uh, over time we develop different faces for different spaces, right? And so being able to kind of see, okay, who am I behind this face that I put forward whenever I'm just me and I'm just trying to describe what's going on, what does that even look like? And who is that person? And spending more time with that person and being that person. And I think the coolest part about it was I started practicing here live with you all. And then I would take it into my life and be like, what would it be if Kristen was just her normal self in a business meeting today? Let's see how this goes. And it was so well received. People were like a breath of fresh air, like, oh my gosh, this girl's
The
being her
intention.
normal self. Can I be my normal self? And yeah, just letting it kind of ripple out. So it's like seeing that when you be your authentic person, you give everyone else that opportunity. And that's all we really want, right? At the end of the day, don't we want to be able to just be able to be ourselves and it be okay? And
For sure.
yeah, definitely this community has had a lot to play in it. And I know for sure, like Mystic Spider-Man, Brendan, Paradigm Shift Central, links down below the video if you guys are looking to be able to find that sense of community, because that's invaluable for being able to be you, to be received. And I'll say, just like my last final thing, I think was the Ascended event that I held in Sedona just earlier in the year. I think it was about a month ago. And I was still really struggling with that last piece of myself that maybe wasn't totally authentic, but that was still trying to be like, I'm going to be someone, like I'm going to be this person, like outside of myself. And I had this moment at the retreat where everything fell apart. It was a mess. Nothing was going the way that I wanted it to go. I had no control over the situation and there was no gaining it. And I had to just be. And in that moment, I just realized that what can I do to be present? What can I do to be here? And being my authentic self, like allowing that person to be here is what changed the entire vibe of the rest of the event. And everybody was then able to go forward and be themselves. And I think that's probably like my biggest motivation, is knowing that, like, yeah, I'm still scared every single time. I'm still nervous. I'm still, there's still are moments where I go through my mind and I'm like, oh my gosh, is what I just said like really weird, or did I look really goofy, or what, but I think, and I'll finish it with this. One of my favorite moments whenever I'm having doubt or fear or worry, I actually hear Michelle, and she says, like, nobody actually cares. Nobody actually cares. Isn't that right, Jasmine? Yeah. Not the,
yes,
like,
mommy, you know it.
but yeah, like nobody really cares. Okay, like at the end of the day, you care the most. Like, you care more than anyone else about
Definitely.
what you look like and what you do. So if you can just accept the fact that you care more than anyone else, and then you lower that level of like, oh, if I can accept who I am, then they can accept me too. And also, like, final bit on that is also understanding that not everybody's going to accept you, and that's okay. Not everyone is. Some people are going to say, yeah, you know what, you are weird for saying that, or oof, that dance was not okay, like, it's okay
Yes,
to,
and that's why you need to be around people that have the same or similar version, like visions as you, like visions of like dreams. Um, bring the dream of our lives to life. I like to say, it's kind of confusing, but that's beautiful.
yeah, no, I love it. I think having dreams is the point where you get in life where you can allow yourself to have dreams, and you can allow yourself to fill them, and you can say, I can be a writer. What does that look like? Let me do it and let's see where it goes. And then also walking that journey and saying, maybe I spent 8 years being a writer and then I just decided I don't want to do that and I'm going to go in a whole new direction, and giving yourself permission to do so. I think it's so important that, we put our time and energy into things and we get really wrapped up over like, oh, I'm growing in this direction. I'm chasing this particular dream. And then we don't allow ourselves to change because we're like, oh, we've moved. This is like the grain that we're following. And I think the key is really allowing yourself to make those changes when you feel called, if it's right for you, if it's appropriate. And yeah,
Definitely.
just allowing yourself to find your flow.
Yeah, you want to be able to like sustain that change, like you have that idea, you ask for clarity, okay, this is where I want to go. It's kind of like, I guess, a farmer, like, tows the soil before they put the seed in to like get the seed ready. And then also, like, a really important part of growing seeds is like resting and like waiting, you know. And there's different coaches who have different opinions about this, about how long you have to wait. And I'm still coming into my power, right, practicing, this is all real time, it's like I'm not sitting here like, oh, I've mastered like everything. Like, I mean, self-mastery is like a journey, like I feel like a couple, several steps ahead of somebody who maybe is like still shy, or like still, doesn't have like a self-love practice, or feels that like they're selfish when they're practicing self-love. And yeah, it's like sometimes those thoughts still creep in, but I laid the soil is really fertile now, and things are growing, like this beautiful PinOak's pals in the cove that we're doing today. Um, but yeah, all around, like life, expands in the proportion that we ask for it. And I my wish is for people who are tuning in, is that they can see the power that they have within them to really like ask for things that are new, that are different, and just really realizing that it's that intention that we have behind the things that honestly have the most influence on where we're going to go. It's not like, okay, I was like, okay, I'm going to overcome shyness, and then like that was like 7 years ago almost, and now I'm finally like doing like speaking like on the computer and like helping other women to like be more comfortable doing this. And yeah, it's a practice, definitely, and it gets to be really beautiful. I want to schedule me in for another PinOak's pal so we can.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. No, this is something that it's gonna just naturally unfold and continue growing with us. And so I absolutely look forward to our next session. I feel like, Lizzy, we could talk about a lot of things for a really long time and it would be very beautiful. And no, I'm just really grateful for you, because having your like I said, even just your story, just you being you, it's powerful to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to choose to be something that makes me uncomfortable, and I'm going to do that thing that gets me out of my comfort zone, and it's okay, and I'm going to do the thing, and here I am however many years later, and I'm sure there's points in your life where you're like, wow, that thing I really wanted to do, why didn't it happen? But look at these other amazing things that I've created for myself. And so I can't wait to continue to see you grow, and I'm just really grateful for the love and support that we get the opportunity to share. And yeah, as far as PinOak's Pal episode 2, I will say this was a great, amazing, beautiful success. And let's send the viewers with, what if you could pick your top 3 like tips and tricks of what you do on like a day-to-day to be able to claim your power and live with intention, what would you offer?
I love that. So throughout this journey of me asking for clarity and receiving it, I've finally been able to actually have like a morning routine, but I don't necessarily always do it in the morning, because one of my priorities is definitely rest right now. I'm in that season where rest is just really important. All of these things that we talked about have been able to integrate. So I would definitely say, like, listen to your body. So rest, or like nourish yourself well. Practice the pause, because, to be able to receive, whether it be answers to questions or just all around emotional clarity, we need to have a sense of quietness. And yeah, I would say the other thing would be actually like having conversations as this next level version of myself, that who I desire to be, or the life that I desire to have. So yeah, either on like a voice note or just 5-minute quiet time meditation, like actually seeing myself and expressing that vision.
I love that. I think one of the most beautiful things you can do for yourself whenever you are practicing is rest. So thank you for resting and listening to that.
Yes. I'm a rebellion. Rest is a form of rebellion as well. So for all those rebels out there.
Like, talk about getting out of your comfort zone. Like somebody like me, I'm not comfortable resting. Like I'm more comfortable with a crazy busy schedule. So like I'll take
Some
that
people
challenge.
are. That's okay. Yes. Please do.
So, okay, but my three things that I would offer as suggestions. Always like I look, take this as it resonates, but always question everything. Like don't stop questioning your life and the experiences you're having and the relationships that you hold and how they connect and you know, just and I don't mean questioning in a bad way of just being curious about your life and how you live and what it means to be you. I think is the thing. And then holding space for yourself is so important. And what I mean by holding space is like what Lizzy said, like letting yourself rest. If you feel like you need to rest, please let yourself do that. If you feel like you need to be chasing your wildest dreams, please do that. If you feel like you need to just express everything to the people that you love, please do that. You know, allow yourself to follow your calling and whatever it may be, and doing the best you can to not hold judgment over it, because it's beautiful, whatever it is that you choose to do with your day and your time and your energy is valid. And so just allow it to be. And I think the last thing is not forgetting the importance of fun and play and knowing that we are like not here to work all the time. So like let yourself do a love splash.
I do that like all the time now.
Yes, it's the best. Good. That just made my heart happy. I'm really we can share the love splash anywhere we go. Let's do.
And Camden's reaction to that was like so pure. It was so beautiful. Awesome.
Right. Well, do you have any final wisdom or wishes or thoughts of loves you would like to share with the viewers? Or
it's so beautiful that we're able to connect in this way. I know a lot of women can definitely really benefit from this. So you know, putting that intention out there now for this message to just spread far and wide. I feel like this is going to be the most watched video that I've done ever. And so glad that it could be with you, Kristen. I've put together a signature program. It's called Deserving of Divine Love, and it helps women to get ready for their dream relationship. And I really go through like deep dive in the transformation, because sometimes that's what it takes, is a whole transformation, but really breaking it down step by step. And as Kristen said, like holding space and having the self-reflection that's required to really like have like a meaningful relationship. And it's called Deserving of Divine Love, and I felt that it was synchronistic to bring it up. And I would love to offer a discount to the viewers on this video, and also within the Paradigm Shift community. So just you can message me the word shift, and we can talk about what it looks like to embody your highest love and be magnetize your dream relationship.
I love that, Lizzy. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I love your programs. They're great. So if you guys are interested, please, please, please do check out Lizzy. Their link is listed down below the video, but I'll be sure to include that. If you'll want to send that to me, Lizzy, we'll include any other links down below that you'd like. So feel free to connect with them and check out their book too. It's super great. Look, she said it's only 30 pages. You can totally do that. Like,
yeah, read it over and over again. I just read it again the other day and I was like, damn, I'm good.
I love that. Yes. Awesome. Okay.
Love it. Love you, girl.
Love you. And everyone watching, I know I haven't even said hello to everybody, but hello, Alice. Hello, Ashley. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Fairy, my new friend whose name I will find out. And anyone else who was able to be with us today. Thank you all for sharing this beautiful space and your love and your wisdom. And just as always, I'm deeply humbled and truly grateful to be able to connect and share this space. So yes, sending you all off with lots of love. And wait, hold on, I'm gonna put us on the gallery view. Lizzy, let's do a love. Can we love splash everybody? Okay.
Get ready.
Love. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Bye guys. Have a good night.